Was smoking hard to stop?
Well, you know, that was my biggest problem when I joined the church. I was a smoker.
Mm-hmm.
And
Can imagine him smoking.
so after I was, and I knew that was going to be a problem. And I knew they were going to ask me if I observed the word of wisdom. And I remember the missionaries coming over one afternoon.
Before you were baptized?
Yeah, coming over, and they said to me, they'd been giving me these lessons they went through, you know. And I went clear through them all, and there wasn't any more to give me.
Yeah, you're done.
And so they come over and they said, well, Brother Frederick, we've taken you as far as we can. So the next step for you is baptism. And I said, okay. And I knew I had to quit smoking. I was still smoking.
Mm-hmm.
And so I remember the Sunday, it was on a Sunday when I was going to baptize in the Portland Council, that big church there in Portland. That was about the only place that had a baptismal font, I think.
Yeah.
And anyhow, long in the afternoon, before Sunday, Saturday afternoon, the missionaries came over and confirmed that I would go down there and be baptized. Well, I went out after they left, and I went outside, and I lit up a cigarette. And I knew that had to be the last one I should smoke.
Wow.
Well, I smoked it, I finally put it away, and I prayed about it, and I prayed about it, and everything, and the next morning, the day I was going to go down was on the Sunday morning. The next morning, Sunday morning, I was supposed to go down at 9 o'clock and be baptized down in Hillsborough. Oh, I believe it went there into Portland, man. And yeah, over in the first ward in Portland. That was the only baptismal font I think they had around there.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I flipped that thing away, I knew that it had to be the last one, and I didn't know how I was going to do it. So I went in and I prayed about it and everything, and the next morning when I got up and I started shaving, as I was shaving, because I was going to go in, he was going to come over and pick me up, the missionaries was, take me into Portland to be baptized. And when I got up, after a while, hey, something's wrong here, I feel different. I just couldn't figure out what it was. Then it hit me like a ton of bricks. Did not have a craving for a cigarette.
Wow.
It was gone.
Completely gone.
Gone. And finally I figured out what it was. That's what it was. Cause mostly every morning about first thing, either before I ate breakfast or right after breakfast, I always had a cigarette. And as I was shaving that morning, go down to be baptized, I thought, hey, something's wrong here. And it hit me like a ton of brick that I didn't have the craving for a cigarette anymore. I didn't have that craving.
Right.
It was an answer to prayer, wasn't it?
Yeah. And I never touched another cigarette since that day.
Did you ever have the craving again?
No.
That's just amazing.
How long
isn't it?
had you smoked, Dad?
Oh, I smoked ever since I was probably
12,
7, 8 years old. Well, certain period of time, and I went over there and thought it was about time, and Dad and another guy, he was in on it too, a neighbor, And they went out. There's kind of a grove of trees there behind us. He sat over, bent over like this and held that bottle of beer in his hands like this, and he had a bottle cap opener. You know, that thing went like that, just and foam running off behind, hit a tree about 15 feet back there. Bounced down on the ground and went spinning around.
Sounds like a rocket.
Yeah, it was just like a rocket. I never will forget that.